You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to The Spectral Zone with host Caz Rooney.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Spectral Zone on Parasearch Radio UK. I am Caz Rooney, and tonight I am going to be speaking to Jason Faust, who is all the way in Ohio, I believe, in the USA. Hi, Jason.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
Well, your group is called Heartland Paranormal.
Yes, we are Heartland Paranormal, and we're actually out of Lincoln, Nebraska.
Lincoln, Nebraska. Where did I get Ohio? Anyway, how long have you been going? How long have you been investigating?
I've now been active in the field about 3 years. Mm-hmm. But I've been educating myself in this field almost my whole life. So I've been reading about it and studying about this stuff nearly my whole life. So,
what got you interested in the paranormal to start with?
Well, I was always kind of that creepy kid that was always into the horror and macabre genre. I saw the movie Jaws when I was very young, and that's what sparked my interest in that genre. And it just branched into the paranormal. You love ghost stories and stuff, and then I started wondering about real ghosts and what it's all about. And so that's what I started reading about, that stuff, and what parapsychologists had to say about it, and what religion had to do with it, and just kind of all different aspects of it. And so, that's kind of what got me into it, and it just expanded from there.
I think that's how we all really start, isn't it? You kind of get this little bit of interest in it, and then you look into something else, and you look into another bit, and you explore it more.
Absolutely. And then it just expands.
So the thing is, investigation-wise, I know you do. I've watched some of your lives, actually, and they've been really good. Where has been your favourite place to investigate?
Truthfully, I can't pick a favorite. I don't play favorites with many things, but I have I've always been very drawn to the Villisca house. I haven't done an overnight investigation there yet, but I've been inside the house probably between about 10 and 12 times during the day. The story fascinates me. It's just a very sad, very, very sad story. Say again.
The story is really tragic. It is a
tragic story. 8 people were murdered in their sleep one night back in 1912, and nobody. The it's still a cold case. No, it was never brought to justice. And 6 of those 8 people were children. And so every time you go in that house, it's a very heavy, foreboding feeling. And I have no idea why I'm drawn to that house. But I always wanted to go there for many, many years. And, I would try to get friends to go with me and stuff, and then they'd kind of chicken out. And about 3, almost 4 years ago, my wife and I were going up to visit her grandma in Iowa, and she suggested to stop there, and we did. And since then, like I said, I've been inside the house between about 10 and 13 times or so. I've lost count, and I've been on the property many, many, many times. So that's probably one of my top locations. I really like the Saille house in Atchison, Kansas. That's got a fascinating story.
Yeah.
So there's a number of different ones that I like a lot.
So your wife is into the paranormal as well?
She's into the history part of it. She doesn't like the paranormal part.
Yeah.
She gets a little creeped out about some of this stuff. She'll go with me on like day events, but after dark, she pretty much chooses to be left out of it. She says if she were ever to see 2 ghosts, the 2 ghosts that she would like to see is Princess Di and Elvis Presley.
Really?
Yes. So, but she does great with helping with the history part of it, with the research part of it, and she does do a lot of the walkthroughs with me when we go during the day and stuff, and she's a huge support. She's my main support. She supports me so well.
Well, you have Graceland over there. Maybe you should take her to Graceland.
We are actually going to go to Graceland next year. We're taking a family trip down there. So,
wow, what a place that would be to visit.
I'm excited. We've always been very, very big Elvis fans. Both her family and my family are huge Elvis fans, and so it's a trip we're really looking forward to.
See, there is this really strange thing, Jason, because all you investigators over in the US all kind of seem fascinated with the UK locations. We're all fascinated with your locations.
It's weird like that. And you know what's funny is that it's there's so many locations, you're never going to run out of places to investigate, Yeah. I think it's just that fascination of, there's an old saying that when an adventurer is at home, he dreams of adventure. When he's on an adventure, he dreams of home, and so, when we're in the States, we dream about going over there. It'd be amazing to do different investigations over there, but it just, it's, you never run out of questions. You never run out of places to investigate.
Yeah. I mean, this has been mentioned before. I think it's been mentioned by myself. It's been mentioned by Kerry Greenaway. It's been mentioned by Penny at one point. But we were all saying we need to do a house swap. So all you guys in the USA need to come here and live in our houses. We'll go and live in your houses. Then we can all go exploring the places.
That sounds like a good trade.
We'll just swap lives for about 3 weeks. It'll be fine.
That's actually a good trade. I have some friends over there in the UK, and we've always said, we'd love to host them when they want to come over and visit. And so I would love to be like a tour guide. If you ever came over here, I would love to show you around some of the places around, especially in the Midwest here.
Do you know, Kerry will listen to this and she'll be like, we're going to the US. I guarantee you. She'll bring it up.
So many of the places that we have been to are probably no longer than like 3 hours away from where we live.
Yeah.
And that's what's so fascinating about that. Like, and then we've got so many like small locations right here in town that we continue to go back to and stuff that are not as well known and stuff. But when we travel to farther places, you know, I do my research, and then like when we went to Atchison to do the Saille house.
Yeah.
When we went down there and did that to do the day walkthrough just to see what it was all about, we did Molly's Hollow in Jackson Park there in town, and a number of different places. And then we went to the neighboring Missouri and did where Jesse James and Frank James were born, and a couple other places down there. So we hit places just as we go.
Wow. I need to move to the US. I so need to move to the US, honestly. You're saying about these little places nearby you, Jason. What kind of places do you have nearby that you can just go to?
We have several different parks.
Yeah.
Here in Lincoln that have some history. And a number of years ago, I want to say it was back in the 80s, a gentleman named Alan Boy had written a book called Guide to the Ghosts of Lincoln. Mm-hmm. And being by that it was back in the 80s, a lot of people have forgotten a lot of these locations, and I'm trying to kind of put them back on the map a little bit. Yeah. But there's a number of those. Our state capitol building actually has some paranormal history to it. It's just small things like that, just parks and even some like historical places, you know, just right in town. Yeah. And so when I have extra time, you know, I go to those, and in neighboring towns, like in Omaha, there's a Hummel Park, there's a haunted road in Nebraska City, which is only like an hour away. And we do those things too. And so
we have little places. I mean, personally, I can't speak for the other presenters. Where I live, I have a World War II memorial cemetery, a graveyard, like 5 minutes from my house. I have another graveyard that's like 5 minutes from that, and I've got another two that are in the opposite direction, about 10 minutes away. We've got a lot of World War II bunkers over here, surprisingly. And we get a lot of urban explorers who come across these, and then we find out about them. So we have little places like that as well. We have some abandoned churches and things around here as well. But when you go out investigating, what kind of equipment do you like to use?
We actually don't use a great deal of equipment. We take with us like a K2 meter, obviously, some cameras. Yeah. We use a video camera, still camera. We use a laser grid quite a bit. But at Heartland Paranormal, our goal is more, and I prefer not to use the word debunk. I feel like it has a negative connotation to it. Okay. But that's kind of our goal. Like when we go out and there's a location, big location that has like a lot of claims within like one room or one area of that house or something. We want to go in that house and find out why there are so many claims of the same type in that room or whatever, you know. So we kind of go in there and see if there's a logical or scientific explanation for why people are experiencing what they're experiencing. And we've actually been able to debunk more than we ever thought we would possibly, you know, be able to do. Now, granted, we are believers. We believe we've had many paranormal experiences. And I'm a very critical thinker. And so I go back and I revisit these paranormal experiences, and I continue to say, okay, well, is there an explanation for why this happened? You know, and there's so many experiences that I can't explain other than it would have been paranormal.
Well, I mean, as an investigator, I would need to agree with you. I mean, when things do happen, you need to look for every kind of logical explanation first. I mean, you really do need to look at the logical explanations and discount them before you can say it's paranormal.
Yes.
We all have to do that. I mean, because it could easily be something else. It could be wind, it could be a breeze, it could be wood expanding. It could be so many different things in different places. So if you're going and you're trying to kind of debunk, well, not say debunk,
that's a fine word, but I feel like it has a negative connotation to it.
That's really when you think about it. But if you're going and you're trying to do that, if you ever came across a place that you have said you will never go back to because there was so much going on, if you ever visited somewhere like that?
Have I ever visited something like that, you say?
Yeah.
No. No, I haven't been to a location where I would not go back. Pretty much every place that we've been overnight and spent considerable time in, we have experienced quite a bit of actual paranormal activity, what we couldn't explain scientifically. And that actually makes us want to go back.
Does it?
We've never ran into anything malevolent or demonic or anything.
Yeah.
But like we have networked to the point where if we do run into stuff like that, we have people that we can call and stuff for, you know, cleansings or that type of thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, it goes like that. But yeah, so far, like actually to answer your question is the more paranormal stuff we experience, the more we actually want to go back.
Do you ever get asked to help out, you know, like, do people come to you and ask for help with their houses if they're having activity?
I do get a lot of private calls.
Okay.
A lot of it turns out in, you know, more just like consultation and stuff.
Yeah.
I've been to private calls. Actually, we have one coming up here in March that's going to be like our biggest one to date. I normally do my private stuff just alone. And now I'm going to have to take a whole team with me on this March one. But yeah, and then when we go out and we do booths, different places and stuff, and we just did one on Saturday. And I get people showing me pictures all the time, and it kind of shocks me how many people have pictures of what they think is possibly paranormal on their phones.
Yeah.
And I think in about 6 hours of being at this booth, in just a little shop, I did in excess of probably 25 or 30 photos, like analyzing them for people, you know. So I do get a lot of consultation, stuff like that. And then, you know, every once in a while I have people want, you know, can you come out to the house or something? Okay.
I mean, do you like doing that stuff as well, though?
Yes, I do. The private stuff, I treat it, here in the States, you know, we have the HIPAA guidelines. It's with like the health service, it's, you know, all confidentiality and stuff, and I treat it like that unless they tell me that I can kind of publicize it on the page or whatever, my group. But yeah, I do. There's certain ones that like people are like, I don't want it publicized. I don't want people to know about this.
Yeah.
And that kind of you kind of go buggy on that because you're like, oh, this would be great to tell people, and you really can't. You got to respect their right to privacy. But
we're more or less the same over here. We're like that. We wouldn't talk about private investigations unless, obviously, the owners were happy for you to do that. It is a different scenario, but we actually, one thing I find actually interesting is when I go to do private stuff, I always ask if there are any teenagers in the house.
That's actually really a good question when you go in.
Yeah, because I tend to find if there's teenagers in the house, that stuff goes on more.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question.
Blame the teenagers.
And the change, the puberty and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that actually explains like a lot of the poltergeist activity, I believe. The heightened emotions and stuff like that.
Well,
is that along the lines of why you ask?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what I think. I think a lot of activity, I mean, if, like poltergeist stuff, you've got to look at whether or not there's teenagers in the house.
Absolutely. I subscribe to that theory as far as like the poltergeist activity too. I know that like a lot of my, like I subscribe a lot to the scientific theories and stuff. Like I had just posted recently about Ouija boards and the idiometer effect.
Yeah. And,
you know, a lot of people who have convincing experiences with those kind of get mad. They believe their experiences, and to each his own, you know, that's fine. You know, if you feel that you've had experiences with Zozo the demon,
yeah,
that's fine with you. But like, I do believe that there are scientific explanations for certain things. And now, personally, I wouldn't touch any Ouija board. I don't like the idea of them.
Yeah.
But I do think that there are scientific explanations for stuff like that. And so, but yeah, that's a great question when you're going into a location as far like, yeah, do you have multiple teenagers?
Everybody that knows me knows I have 4 teenagers in this house. They also know that things happen in my house. And regularly my kids will say to me, this house is haunted and it's your fault because of what you do. But I think it's actually their fault, not mine. So
that's awesome.
I'm blaming them. Like yourself, I mean, I'm not a fan of Ouija boards. I've never used one. I won't use one. I don't know why that is. I understand they're a divination tool. They are a tool. They are to be used. Some people think they're great, but I think they're too easily manipulated by people. People can easily move the planchette and things, and it's not convincing to me that they are actually a useful tool.
I agree with that. I agree that there's too much room for human error with that.
Yeah.
And when you take into the account the idiometer effect, have you ever been like kind of falling asleep? You've been in kind of that twilight zone, the twilight sleep, and you get that full body jerk that wakes you up.
Yeah.
Almost everybody has experienced that, and that's what that idiometer effect is. It's your body moving subconsciously. You're not, you know, consciously telling your muscles to do something, you know.
Yeah.
And when you're thinking about sitting in front of even if you've never done a Ouija board, but you've been in situations where your adrenaline is higher, the chemicals in your body that make you feel almost euphoric, you know, your epinephrine and your serotonin and stuff, the levels are higher, and so you're excited and stuff.
Yeah.
And so you're expecting something to happen, and so subconsciously you could be moving that planchette and not even really realizing that you're the one that's, you know, making a point to certain things. And so that's why I subscribe to that theory, because the human mind, I don't think a lot of people give enough credit to the power of the human psychological prowess that we hold, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that there's too much room for human error with a Ouija board. And as far as it being a door for evil, the basic premise of the Ouija board is that it's a tool to, you know, communicate with the dead. So REM pod, K2 meter, all the tools that investigators use, whatever they chose to use, those are all tools to communicate with the dead. So why are they any less of a tool to open a door for evil or whatever? You know, I don't agree with that. So I don't think Milton Bradley would actually sell, you know, the gates to hell or the gates to let the devil in, you know, something like that. But anyway,
it's quite interesting though that Ouija boards get sold as toys. I find that ridiculous.
Well, and that's why I say that. Like, I don't think if it was actually like, I don't think they should be toyed with. I don't think they should be used as toys. But if they were really like a gate to let the devil into our realm, they wouldn't be sold, you know, above Monopoly, on the shelf above Monopoly, and just below Chutes and Ladders, you know? So
that's a fair point. That is a fair point. I mean, but can you imagine though? I mean, I can't speak for anyone else, but if one of my kids came to me and says, "Oh, I'd like a Ouija board for Christmas, please," I know what I would be saying. Wouldn't be getting it.
Yeah, I don't. My wife really does not like the idea of them. She believes in them, and I respect that opinion. Yeah. And I wouldn't have them in my house, you know. So I respect all opinions. Just because I believe something doesn't mean somebody else has to. But yeah,
you have to be open-minded though doing this.
Yes, absolutely.
And you meet so many interesting people who have different views and have different theories and different things that they believe in. So you've got to take on board what they believe in too.
That's what makes the field so amazing. It's a very subjective field. Mm-hmm. And if you remain open-minded, one of my main things is like when you're going into an investigation, we do deep research before we go into the investigation. We research the house, the location, the history, the people, all this stuff. Yeah. But we still we go in with an open mind and an open heart, not expecting things to happen to us. Yeah. And I think that's why we get fresh experiences off of it. Because if you go in expecting things to happen, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Yeah. It's the same with a conversation. If you're talking to somebody with different ideas and different opinions and different theories than you keep your mind open during that conversation, and you will learn more than you'll ever thought possible. You open more doors to like possibilities because it is a subjective field, and you're talking to somebody and you go, wow, I didn't ever think of that aspect of this, you know? And that's what's amazing about this field is that you continue to learn, and it's just so much information and wonderful learning experiences constantly.
Yeah, it is constant. It is a constant field where people are learning all the time. I mean, I don't believe you can ever learn everything. No matter how much you are, you can't. So, do you feel though that you should, when you conduct your investigations, do you conduct them a certain way? Do you have certain rules with your investigations?
Our number one rule is that there's no instigating and no provoking. I have one other guy on my team that's a constant part of my team, and we collaborate with a lot of other teams and stuff. Yeah. And we like learning how other people investigate and their ways of doing it. But with Heartland, we actually, when we collaborate with others, we do have that rule set down that if we're hosting the investigation, then we say there is no provoking or instigating with the spirits, because we find that so disrespectful.
Yeah.
They want people to. And so, using trigger objects, we really do not like that. We feel, that's kind of an instigation.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And so that's our number one rule. Other than that, we're pretty free and clear.
Yeah.
We choose not to use a lot of electronic devices. We do use some because we subscribe to the energy theory, the drainage theory.
Yeah.
And if you bring in electronic stuff and they need to draw off of something, I'd rather have them drawing off the battery from my camera rather than from me. I don't want to go feel sick on the drive home,
Yeah.
But like we've done stuff with other teams that they use a lot of cameras, a lot of computer equipment and stuff like that. And it's fascinating to learn how to do all that stuff,
Have you ever been to a location where you have actually felt that spirits there have physically affected you?
As far as like affected me, no. I have had physical interaction with me.
Yeah.
When we were in Malvern Manor in Malvern, Iowa.
Yeah.
That was our first major overnight investigation. And I was in an upstairs room that they call Ina's room.
Yeah.
It's a little girl that had hung herself way back in the early 1900s in that room. And she's known to be very, very active in that room. And when I entered that room, I felt two cold spots, probably both of them probably about 6 or 8 inches in diameter on the back, just below my shoulder blades.
Yeah.
And we stood in that room for about 20 minutes, and both spots just exponentially got colder and colder throughout the 20 minutes. And finally, we said we're going to go down to the safe room where the stove was and warm up.
Yeah.
And I stepped across the threshold into the hallway, and just instantly it was gone.
Wow.
It was a very creepy, eerie feeling. It was only the 2 spots on my back. And, there was a few things that happened in that 20 minutes that just kind of confirmed that it was physical interaction. It was really weird. It was exhilarating. I actually was not scared, but
yeah,
it was exhilarating and scary.
Wow.
But as far as affecting me in a negative way or draining me, I think I'm, when I come home, I'm more tired than anything, because usually I've been going strong for, 36 hours straight, without sleep. And so I come home and I pretty much just crash and go to bed. But that's more just, the physical part of it.
We tend to find over here, we call it the paranormal hangover.
Yes.
Because
yes.
guaranteed next day we're not moving. We go home and we are not moving. So we do physically feel absolutely drained. But like you said, you're investigating all night. You are going to be tired. So you've got to look after yourself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's actually another rule that I have been enforcing a little bit more.
Yeah.
I am in more recent months and stuff. Like the more I look into things, if one of my team members or somebody that's coming along on the investigation, if they're dealing with something that's causing turmoil in their life and they're feeling kind of like anger or sad, something, like extreme emotions, I'd prefer them not to come along. If they're feeling fluish or even have a cold, it kind of makes them weaker, and if we're dealing with spirits at all, we don't know what we're going to be dealing with, and that kind of weakens that veil kind of, and so I prefer them not to come. And that's kind of another rule of mine, and I'm going to be enforcing that with my team, pretty much. It's going to be a strong rule of mine.
That is a really good rule, actually.
It puts up that barrier, to kind of like for protection and stuff. I mean, if we do run into an investigation in a location where something is, I don't want to say necessarily evil or nothing, it just makes an attachment a little more apt to come home with you.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, like you said, you work more with energy than you do with the technological side of things. So would you subscribe to the theory that when you are investigating, your own self, your own body is your best tool?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You got to be in tune to your, well, everything, your health, your personal psyche and everything when you go in. And you are absolutely your best tool. And, you got to be in tune to like noises and stuff.
Yeah.
I have slight hearing impairment, but that's one of the benefits of, a lot of people think that investigators go and do overnight investigations because ghosts are more active at night. Yeah. And I try to educate and say, no, spirits, ghosts, entities, all that, they do not keep clock. They can come out at daytime and the evening time in the afternoon, whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
Ghost hunters do it in the dark because, but we do it overnight because so many of us have day jobs, first of all.
Yeah.
And then second of all, we have more control over our environment.
Yeah.
And so, there's less cars on the road outside and there's less human activity outside, and you can control your own flashlights, the flash of your camera, all that stuff. You actually have more control over your environment, over the settings and stuff that's in the location.
Yes.
Plus, being a person with a little bit of hearing impairment, I can locate sounds easier. If it was middle of the day and there's tons of traffic on the street outside, I hear a noise that's a little odd, I can't locate that as easy, stuff like that. So, you got to be in tune with yourself and know your own limitations and your own strengths. So,
yeah, I mean, I have found, although I do use the tech stuff, there was actually a conversation, I won't mention who it was that said it, if I'm remembering correctly, but they did actually say, we're fed up watching teams doing things in night vision. We want to go and do day investigations because they're just so fed up with seeing everybody in night vision. So they're like, we want to go and do day investigations. And I think that's actually a good idea. And I don't think people do it enough. But like, as you said, people have jobs and things during the day. It isn't as easy to control your environment either during the day.
Right.
So I think I would agree with you there, why we do these investigations at night. A lot of it is control of the environment you're actually putting yourself in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, it's anytime I can when we go an overnight, I try to do a walkthrough during the day, try to get a feel, like a layout of the location.
Yes.
Because if there is any hazards or something, I want to protect my team. I want to protect whoever's in there. I can warn them of like, okay, if you're on second floor, watch out for this, this, and this,
Yeah.
But having that control over the environment helps the investigation so much. It helps with, like I was talking about, lights. If a car is coming in through like the headlights of a car is coming in through the window.
Yeah.
You can separate that mentally through, rather than shadows of daylight, if it's a tree or this or that or whatever outside, but noises as well and just different things. It's just a better time to do it.
Yeah.
Not just because ghosts come out at night, it's, I think it's a misconception.
Yeah, I think it is. So if you were going to come to the UK, Where do you think would be the top place you would want to go and investigate? Where's the one place you would definitely want to go to?
I honestly, I know that the Borley Rectory is no longer standing. I know that the property is actually gated off and everything.
Yeah.
But I would love to go to that property where the Borley Rectory stood.
Yeah.
I think that would be just absolutely fascinating to be in that area, because it was at one time considered one of the most haunted places in the world.
Yeah.
I know. I could not. I don't know. I just like, it's kind of like that. I can't really.
Yeah.
It would be all over the place, I think. I would just be everywhere. It's kind of like where here in the States, like, I go wherever I have an opportunity to go. I have places I want to go, but I don't put them on a list of like, I'm going to go here first, here second, here third.
Yeah.
I go where the opportunity arises. And so I think that's how it would be over there. So I think it would be neat to like go into like Westminster Abbey.
Yeah.
Places like that and stuff. But yeah, I think maybe where the property of where the Borley Rectory once stood, it'd probably be like my number one place to visit. Don't know how much investigating would happen there, since it's just gated off field. But
you talk to people over here, and you say to them, well, if you could go to the US, where would you go? Everybody says different places, but you tend to find the same places keep coming up all the time. And nobody actually agrees with me, but I've always said I want to go looking for the Bell Witch. Nobody's ever said it. Nobody's
there
ever
in
said
Kentucky,
that first.
where the Bell Witch was in Kentucky there?
Yeah.
Oh, that is actually on my bucket list. I would
Really?
That would be a very, very fascinating. Have you actually seen the Blair Witch Project?
Oh yes, unfortunately.
I agree with you on that, but they actually loosely took that story from the Bell Witch story. They loosely based that off of the Bell Witch legend. So but I would, yes, that's a good choice, and a lot of people don't pick that.
They don't.
You're correct.
I don't know why, but they don't. So the different members of your team, do you find that you all have different strengths when you're investigating?
Yes, I do. Like I said, it's with Heartland, it's just me and another gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Clark is his name, and we both have different views on different things, and we both have similar views on a lot of things, and I think it really brings things when we're on an investigation, having opposing views and similar views, it really makes an investigation come together, because he might say, let's go into this area or whatever. If I oppose that or whatever, or vice versa, we didn't think about that, and it helps us cover more ground. It helps us, do more and stuff, and we work very, very well together. I think he has wonderful ideas when we're on investigations and stuff, and it helps that he's not like a big scaredy cat. He doesn't jump at every noise and stuff, and he just does a wonderful job, and he's been with me pretty much from the beginning, and he's a very open-minded person, and I think, we do have different strengths, and it's just nice that we know our own limitations and we take care of it on our own. So, but we make a great team.
Yeah, you sound like a very good team together. Do you think this year? What is your goal for Heartland Paranormal? What is the goals you have for this year?
Well, this year we don't have a lot of commercial places that we're going to be going to, like the big name locations that everybody knows. We have a number of different private locations that are actually people want to kind of be publicizing, actually.
Yeah.
And several of those are coming right at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
And there might be possibly something coming up where I might be able to market my own location. We got to wait and see what we find. I mean, if it has no activity or anything, then, and it won't be my own location. It'll, another gentleman owns it and wants to bring me in to help out with it and stuff. I don't want to claim all of it, but there's possibly business prospects with something that would be awesome to, help with that.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to do our charity event. That actually, thank you for getting the ball rolling on this, but we're going to do that in April, on April 28th.
Yeah.
We're doing ours for autism awareness.
Wow, good charity.
And we are going to have Heartland have a booth there. Our friends at CNH said they might come down from Iowa. CNH Paranormal might come down and have a booth. We'll have a psychic there that'll do tarot readings, a Reiki master, and possibly a couple other stuff. People having booths.
Yeah.
We'll have raffles, possibly a silent auction, and then at the end of the day, I'm going to take people over who would like to sign up and kind of teach them in Antelope Park, where I just was the other night.
Yeah.
And teach them how to do an investigation, and then all proceeds will go to our local branch of the Autism Awareness Foundation.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. And next month we have Haunticon coming up, so I'm really looking forward to that. But we have those are kind of our big things coming up. I'm helping a friend of mine in his venture to acquire a location, and then my big goal is I'd like to get my t-shirts and sweatshirts made this year. But that's just some of our goals and plans this year.
Just don't do what I did. I got my t-shirts made and then changed the design. A couple of months later, I didn't like it and changed it.
Oh, the design that's on my the design that's on the top of my page on my group.
Yeah.
I designed that myself. And the crow signifies in several different cultures, and especially in like native cultures, the crow was known to carry souls from the land of the living to the land of the dead.
Yeah.
And the design inside of the crow, I'm actually Latvian.
Yeah.
And my mom's side of the family is from Latvia, and that's a Latvian design inside of the crow. And then the rose it's a very special flower because so many females in my family, like my grandmothers and my great aunts, my mother, my wife, they've all loved roses all their life. So I just put a rose in its mouth. So those are the significant parts of my design for Heartland. And I tried to make it also significant on that, like that, so I wouldn't want to change it. And I don't ever find it changing.
Fantastic. See, I wouldn't have
recognize my logo here in Lincoln pretty well.
Yeah. You're pretty well known over there.
I wouldn't say pretty well known, but there has been times where I've been out in the community and a member will come up and say, well, hey, I'm a member of your page. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, kind of makes you feel like a little bit of a quasi-celebrity, you know? So,
Well, it sounds as if you're going to have a great year.
I'm hoping so. And this was very special to me that you actually wanted to interview me, and I'm very, very honored. And I wanted to say thank you very much.
Thank you for letting me interview you. We've been talking about this for months. We have been trying to organise this for months.
Well, I so appreciate it, and I thank you very, very much. I'm honored that you had me on your show.
Oh, I'm so pleased to have you on the show. Honestly, I think the places you've been are completely fascinating. I think you're a great team. I mean, I would love to go to some of the places you have been. So,
well, if you make it to the States, if you make it to the Midwest, and remember, I'm not in Ohio, I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Where did I get Ohio from? I bet you earlier I've spoken to someone and somebody's mentioned Ohio. Now, in fairness, I mean, well, it's been a long day.
We'll check it up for that, but if you ever make it to Nebraska, make sure you contact me, and I would love to show you around and take you to different places and stuff. And
seriously, I think me and a few of the other presenters are keeping notes of all these places we want to go, and we do have pretty big lists of places we want to go. Majority of them being in the US. So I think it's something we do really need to organise at some point. Because I'm definitely going to do it at some point. I have to do it at some point. I'll kick myself if I don't. So, but it has been such a pleasure to speak to you, and so fascinating for you to tell us about where you've been. Because, like I said, we haven't been there. We haven't had those opportunities yet to go. So we find everything that you do over there completely fascinating.
Well, thank you. And one day we'll be over there. We'll get over to the UK and we'll investigate over there, because it's just vice versa. We find it fascinating over there as well.
Well, I mean, if you ever make it to the UK, make sure that we know you're coming, and we'll all come and join you.
That sounds fantastic. I would love that.
So, everybody who is listening, please, you have to go and check out Heartland Paranormal. You have to go and check out the page and the places they have been to. They are absolutely fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. And it's refreshing watching teams who aren't really concentrating on the tech as much as well, and they're doing it more with energy. If you have a spare 2 seconds, just pop over, join the group, look at what the guys are going to be doing. And we won't forget your wife, Jason, because she's doing all the research, isn't she?
She does a lot of it, and she helps me out so much with it. And she's just, I think she just focuses on that because she's kind of a Chicken Little and doesn't want to do things at night. But she does help me out so much. In
fairness, I mean, she's doing her part during the day. She's doing the research.
Yes, she does help me out a great deal, and she is so supportive, and that is a big part of it, that it helps to have a spouse that is very, very supportive of this.
I think you would have to have a spouse that's very supportive of this, because it isn't the most normal thing to be doing, is it?
No, it's not.
No, that's a better word. It's not the most normal thing to be doing.
It's actually, it's funny, because I tell people, if you capture evidence and stuff and you decide to show people, prepare yourself for ridicule, because some people will just flat out and blatantly ridicule you for what you're doing, but it's a lot of people are open-minded. More people are a lot of people say they're skeptics or non-believers because of their fear of it. And so they will kind of try to dismiss or rationalize and stuff like that. But it's there's a stigma on the field, and so it's kind of weird.
Well, I mean, you have to be a certain kind of person to be doing this, I think.
Yes.
You need to be a certain kind of person to do this and want to do this.
Absolutely.
But I mean, it is just completely amazing the places you've been. I'm just so jealous, to be honest. I am just jealous. There is no other words for it. I am jealous.
Well, just so you know that how supportive my wife is, when we had our first our 1-year anniversary trip, when we went to South Dakota, we spent a week in South Dakota, and she let me do 5 investigations while we were on our 1-year wedding anniversary trip. That is a supportive wife in my book.
Oh. Wow. Now, see, that's true love. There you go.
That is true love.
True love. There you go. Well, Jason, believe it or not, we have been chatting away for about an hour now. Believe it or not. So, as we're coming to the end of this, please, again, everyone, go and check out Heartland Paranormal and see what the guys are up to. Jason, thank you so much for coming on and letting me interview you.
Thank you so much, Caz.
And telling me all your wonderful stories. And making me jealous, but never mind.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm like I said, I'm honored to be a part of your show. Thank you.
Fantastic. Everyone, please remember you can follow Parasearch Radio on Twitter. You can follow them on YouTube and, of course, on Facebook. So come and listen to as many shows as you can. There's loads of great shows. And I will speak to you all again in a week's time. So say good night, Jason.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.